Hey everyone, welcome to Voice Podcast. This is episode 0. My name is Elle.
I'm Reed.
I'm Danny.
And we're your hosts. So today we're just going to do a little bit of get to know you. So we're going to hang out with each other, talk with each other. And then, that's basically what we're going to do today. Keep your eye out for the next podcast where we're going to talk a little bit more about orientation and some really cool events that are coming up come September.
Stay tuned.
See you then. All right.
All right.
Oh, man, I knew that was going to happen.
Every single time.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So, So let me ask you guys this. If you could be an X-Men.
No.
Yeah. If you could be, what superpower would you have? And it doesn't have to be one that already
It
exists.
has to be within the X-Men or just any
It could
superpower?
be any. Let's go with any superpower.
Okay, superpower. Okay, because my X-Men was like, I more would want to be like a character. Because I don't know if you guys read the comics, but there was like a female X-Men.
There's been a lot of female X-Men.
Yeah, but the
Mystique,
original one.
change of shape.
Mystique is cool.
Rogue. She takes people's powers.
Yeah.
You know, Jubilee. She had like that. She could like electric stuff.
Yeah, no, that's cool. I want that one.
That one would be cool.
I feel like I'd take people's powers because then you
Take
could.
people's powers?
Well, I mean, then you could have any power.
That's so mean.
It's mean, but like.
Like, do you take the powers forever? Like they no longer have power?
No, no. You can give them back.
Then you would lose the power.
I would lose the power. But then I get to be something different every day.
Right.
That's true.
You know?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
And
Then
you
that person
decide
is
who
just
gets
normal
what.
for a day.
Yeah.
And you
You
get
decide
this-
who gets what. Like, so if you didn't like that a person could read your mind, you could like take that power, but give them like the power of super speed or something.
I think, but
So you're like the card shuffler. That would be your name, the shuffler.
The shuffler.
Just shuffler though.
Shuffler.
No, the.
and no card.
Oh, God.
No, but I think if I were to choose one, I think it would be lightning speed.
Lightning, like
Yeah.
running or
Yeah,
flying?
Running.
Running.
I like
to
that one.
run. Yeah.
Yeah, you
and
like to run?
to go super fast.
Get places.
Yeah.
And no more paying for bus or cabs.
No more gas.
Yeah.
Like, I hate paying for gas.
Gas is the
gas
Might
worst.
as well
is
just run.
insane.
Yeah. Man, I pumped gas the other day and it was no, I don't want to pump gas anymore.
No,
No, yeah, pumping gas it's not fun.
No.
it's a bit of a gamble.
You know
it,
what
it could be nice some days, but it's also just like
I would
it's
like
the
someone
worst.
to pump the gas for me.
You want someone to pump your gas?
Yeah,
that's
like
called, that's the thing. It's called full service.
yes. No, but like I want to keep the same prices, but I just want to sit in my car, and then just have them pump my gas and clean my windshield.
Yeah.
Fill
I
up
get
the air
that.
on my tires.
Yeah, I'd like to have a Cadillac too. You know?
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah,
true.
exactly. Yeah, like one of those like with the huge trunks.
Actually,
fit
a
9 bodies
limousine
back
that
there.
would be nice. A driver.
Wait, I don't want to drive the limousine.
No.
Funny story. I used to drive limousines.
Really?
Yeah. I used to work at a casino, and I would just drive the limousine, and I drive the high rollers around.
Really?
Cool.
Yeah. I mean,
Where was this?
in Reno?
Okay.
Yeah.
Whoa, that's cool.
Yeah. Driving a limo is cool.
Okay.
Because people like think that you have, that you're cool or that you have someone important.
Right.
Right.
You don't.
No.
It's hardly
Yeah.
ever anybody that's worth anything. In the casino, like they comp those limos and they give them to like people that are considered high rollers, but like half these
They're just
people
posers?
half the people are either posers or just spend a lot of money.
Right,
Right.
yeah. You're like,
You
I
know?
can go and drop $300 on a limo. That doesn't mean that I'm like I have thousands of dollars.
Yeah,
in the bank. I'm
exactly.
just not that smart with my
It's
money.
just flash.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, the limo had like the casino's name on it.
Right.
So like a lot of people would be like, oh, who is this person? I did get. I almost got to drive Michael Bolton.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, but
Who's Michael Bolton?
Michael Bolton, he ask your mom. Right? Michael Bolton was or still is a singer, but he's one of those like heartthrobs for middle-aged
Yeah.
women now.
Okay.
And I will say he is a very pretty man.
He's beautiful.
Yes.
He's so
Okay.
pretty. He has a beautiful voice.
Yeah.
I'm a fan girl. I'm not even
So he's like a
woman.
crooner kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So, and I almost got to drive him around. I thought he was kind of kind of a punk. You know what I
Really?
mean? Yeah.
So you met him.
No
I
way.
didn't meet him like per se, but like when I worked at the casino, he was supposed to do a meet and greet at the end of the
Okay.
show, right? So like people paid a bunch of money to meet and greet him at the restaurant after the show, and it was a nice restaurant. And as soon as the show is over, he went over to the restaurant. I was like, hey guys, I'm Michael Bolton. Like, all right, cool, see ya.
Oh.
You know, so like all these people paid all this money.
Maybe that was a scheduling issue.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
Or
But
he's just a total dick.
one of the two. One of the two. I'm gonna go with the latter on this one.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Like I get it. He's been around for a long time, so he's probably like tired of doing these gigs, right? But still, you know, it's like the fans, right?
Yeah, it's true. I get it. I just feel like if you're older, you have like more responsibilities, you have a lot of stuff going on that maybe
Yeah.
things can get. But I just love him, right? So I'm
Yeah.
never gonna think that he's that person.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I guess that's fair enough. I
But
guess.
yeah.
So is he like is he a cover artist or is
No,
he? Oh,
no.
okay,
He has his
interesting.
own. I want to say "When a Man Loves a Woman."
Oh well, that's
Yeah.
that's a cover.
No,
Well,
of him
it's
of his song.
his.
Yeah, it's his.
That's
song.
his song.
Yeah.
Other
wanna
people
s-
cover it.
That's Percy Sledge, dog.
Is it?
Yeah.
Well, then that wasn't. Then that's not
Yeah.
him.
Yeah.
I don't know his music, but I know that he has like one or two songs, and then he got out off stage, and then went around and was in the audience and singing in the audience, and like security had to like hold back these troves of women just trying to get it, and the whole place was packed
Yeah.
with middle-aged women and
yeah.
their daughters.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like there was a few guys,
Yeah.
sure, but it was all middle-aged women and their daughters.
So is he like Seal kind of famous?
I think so.
Yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
with
Yeah.
a
So
prettier
like
face.
ballpark.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. Well,
With
yeah.
a prettier face.
No knock on Seal, you know, shout out to Seal,
Sure.
you know. Like,
Yeah.
yeah. Oh man. But yeah, no, Michael Bolton, it was a good show, you
That's
know.
cool. Yeah, no, that's really cool.
How did you get involved in that? Like what?
In the limo?
Yeah.
So I worked at the casino. I worked security in the casino, and the valet drivers and the bellhops, they used to be in charge of driving the limos, but they messed it up. You know, they would either drive too fast or wouldn't be on time or just they were
Terrible at their job.
terrible, right? So then they switched it and they gave the limo to the security, and they had we had like 2 or 3 limos, and then we had one dedicated limo driver. But if he ever got like too full or too many people, then they would like give it to the other guys. And so I was like, you know what? I'd like to drive a limo.
Yeah,
It's like,
why not?
Exactly, right? It's like I've never driven a vehicle that big before. Oh, excuse me. So like I was like, yeah, let's get a let's drive a limo.
job,
Yeah.
yeah.
So then I just started
Cool.
driving limos around.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's really, really cool.
Yeah, it's cool. It's like, except like when you go to like, these people would like, I had one lady, she wanted to go to the mall. It's like, that was a rough, like, cause malls aren't built for limos.
True.
You
Well,
know?
and it's a busy parking lot. You can't maneuver around that.
Exactly. So it was hard. And she's like, I want to go to Macy's, it's like,
Like, okay.
okay. It's like, come back in an hour. It's like, what am I going to do for an hour? It's like, yeah, so I just walked around the mall.
Yeah.
It's like,
Well, that's not bad.
yeah.
So what brought you to Reno?
I'm from there.
You're from there. Okay.
I'm from
okay,
there, yeah.
Okay.
So I grew up in Reno, and then I came up to Canada, a few years ago.
Mm,
So yeah,
interesting.
Nice.
Interesting.
Yeah, cold's not fun. I moved here from Concord, California, which is like Bay Area.
Yeah.
Kind of by like Oakland, Berkeley area.
yeah.
And I don't think I'll ever get used to the winters here. Ever. Like, I'm just not a cold person.
So how long ago did you move here?
So I actually moved to Canada like almost 10 years ago. Like, it'll be 10 years
Wow.
in October.
Are you Canadian?
I'm a dual citizen.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
so my dad is from Canada. He
Okay.
grew up in Orillia. And then my mom is from Jersey. She's from Jersey.
Joyzy,
From
the Joyzy
Joyzy.
Shore.
She's from, I don't think she's from the Joyzy Shore, but
Oh,
she's from
Joyzy,
Jersey.
definitely Joyzy.
So then what brought them to California?
My dad always wanted to live there. And my mom was a nurse, so she can kind of work wherever she wants.
Yeah.
And then my grandfather is a businessman, so he ended up moving there.
Mm.
And we're really, really close knit family. Like there's like 25 of us, and we always
are right.
follow.
Oh,
We always
right.
follow each other.
So everyone
we-
lives together.
Yeah, so we all moved to California, and then eventually we all, as a group, again moved to Toronto.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so it was like quite because my grandpa again got a job like in Toronto.
So everyone just kind of follows
Yeah,
around.
so we just kind of
But
followed.
that's cool because like at least you keep the family close, and it's like because I've moved around a lot, and it's
Right.
always like hard for me to like establish like a group of friends or
Right.
like something like that. So it's been pretty solitary. So at least that way, like you have you move to a new city and then you have
You have your network.
you have a network, exactly,
sure.
a support system. Because
Yeah.
whenever you go somewhere new, it's always good to like you always try to find somebody, or try to find something, that and so that way at least
Yeah.
makes it more bearable or makes it easier, I would guess.
Totally.
Well,
Right?
exactly. And like my aunts, so I have there's two twin aunts and my uncle, like they've always been more like my siblings, really.
Right.
And because
They're your age?
they're closer in age with me. So
Okay.
they're 31 and then my uncle's 36 or so.
Okay.
But yeah, they've always been closer in age with me than with my dad. My dad is about like 11 years apart from them. I'm like 9 years apart from them. So yeah, so that's been really, really nice. Growing up that way, a little bit different because I didn't have that like hometown feel.
Right.
But I have friends all over and family,
Yeah,
right?
that's
so
cool
it's like
too,
it's
yeah.
pretty cool. It's not bad. Miss San Francisco. My brother's actually there right now
Nice.
because he works for Bombardier.
Okay.
Do you go visit a lot?
Not really, like not since I started school. So it's been about 3 years since
Okay.
I've been back. I'm planning on doing like a big road trip coming up, like next summer or so.
So speaking of road trips, off mic earlier, you were talking about a hitchhiking adventure that you went through.
Yeah. So before I started college, the year before,
Yeah.
I had been out of high school for a year, so like almost 2 years. So my ex-boyfriend and I at the time, we decided that we wanted to go on a big hitchhiking trip.
Wait, he was your ex-boyfriend at the time, or is he your
He
ex-boyfriend
is my
now?
ex-boyfriend now. He was my boyfriend. Well, we were on and off at the time.
Okay.
That's a whole other podcast.
That's a different story. Yeah, we'll get into the relationship stuff later. But yeah, so we decided that we wanted to do this big hitchhiking trip. So we got all of our backpacks. We got like a bunch of portable stoves, a portable shower, because I was like, I want to shower. And then we started in Toronto because it was a lot easier. And we would just hold up signs that said, you know, like we wanted to go to Barrie. We wanted to go, like, keep going kind of thing. We were actually going to just go all the way west. But then we met this really, really cool guy named Mark at the Barrie en route. And he redirected us and told us to go more north. And he was like, if you make it to my like cottage resort, like you can pitch your tent there. And it was really, really cool. And by fluke, we ended up making it there because we were in Sault Ste. Marie. And it was the only ride that we said no to because they wanted me to lay back in the back of a pickup truck
On the highway?
on the highway.
Absolutely
Because
not.
they didn't have enough room. So like my ex was going to sit in the truck and I'd be laying on the highway. And I was like, no way am I doing that.
Yeah.
Like,
But
there's
not even like a
absolutely-
top down or anything?
No, like open, just completely open back of a pickup truck. I was like, there's no way I'm doing that. So we said no. And then the next ride we got was actually going to Ironbridge. And he knew, the guy Mark, he knew his resort. He knew everything. He was like a kayak instructor.
Oh,
So
wow.
we were like, okay, cool. So we actually ended up making it. And there was a wedding. So they brought us like leftovers from their dinner, which was
Cool.
awesome because we were living off of like oats
Scraps
and
and-
nuts
yeah.
and like just like bulk things.
Yeah.
So it was a lot of fun. We made it to Lake Louise. My friend was living and working out there, so we stayed there for a couple weeks. I had to work there for a little bit at one of the restaurants because we didn't have enough money to get home.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay,
should've
I'll just
you
pick
got
up
a thumb.
Yeah. So we actually we ended up taking the bus back, which was the absolute worst part of the entire trip.
Actually being in comfort.
Oh, but it was
Knowing
a
where
2.5
you're
day
going.
bus ride.
Oh, yeah.
And like the longest stop was maybe an hour. So I was like, this sucks.
Yeah.
And there was times where we were almost like stranded, like in Wawa. Everyone's like, don't go to Wawa.
Wait, there's a place called Wawa?
It's called Wawa. It's in no man's land. So it's like north, like Ontario. I don't know. But they like, don't go to Wawa.
I've never
Just
been
keep
there,
going.
so don't ask me.
Yeah,
But
I've never even heard like Wawa.
Yeah.
I heard of Walla Walla,
No.
you know, but Wawa, that's all right.
Yeah, there's like a giant goose there. That's like a attraction.
Is it alive?
No. It's like
Oh.
a huge statue. Like I have a picture of it, but it's like everyone was telling us don't go to Wawa because people are only going in and out of Wawa. They're not going past it. And like people used to like, there's bad stories. Like people used to pass away there hitchhiking and things like that.
Pass away. I think the word you're looking for is murdered.
No, yeah, like,
50 men
they
go
would,
in,
like,
10
but they
come
would
back.
starve. They would like starve because no one would pick them up. They like ran out of money and food and everything.
Oh.
Yeah. So then, but we were just like, yeah, it's 2015. We'll go to Wawa. I don't care. And then
Yeah.
we got there, and took us 6 hours to get a ride out of there. And it
Oh,
was
wow.
like rainy and cold. And then finally, a transport truck driver picked us up, and he's like, the only reason you're getting out of Wawa right now is because you're in Wawa. He's like, I used to hitchhike when I was younger, and like, you don't go to Wawa. It's the worst possible place. And we were just like, thank you so much. Like, I'm so hungry. And yeah, That was fun.
Holy
It was
moly.
it was definitely not a vacation,
No.
but it was an experience.
And how long did this whole endeavor take?
So it actually didn't take us that long. So my goal was to make it to Lake Louise for Canada Day.
Okay.
And we actually ended up making it there the day before Canada Day. So it took us about a week and a half
From Toronto
from
to
Toronto to hitchhiking there because we got a ride from from Thunder Bay
Okay.
all the way to Edmonton.
Wow.
Yeah, and like we made stops and everything, so we still got to like see, but it was like Saskatchewan and Manitoba, so I was like, not really missing too much, but we got to stop in places and like pitch our tent at the truck stops, but yeah, he brought us all the way to Edmonton, and then I wanted to stay in a hotel because I got car sick
Yeah,
because it was a long drive, like it was like a day and a half, almost 2-day drive.
that's insane.
Yeah, so then and then from there we hitchhiked to Lake Louise. So
Wow.
it was actually not bad. Like people were really surprised. Like some people it takes like 2 weeks to a month to hitchhike all the way out there.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we made really, really good time.
Now, what made you want to do this? Because, like, when it comes to hitchhiking, like, I'd just be like,
Yeah.
there's
Well,
no
stories,
way.
and there's always
Yeah.
horror
Yeah,
stories,
exactly.
right? It's like
So, like-
hitchhikers get murdered, and that's like the easiest way to
Like,
get.
For
like
sure.
what made you think, like, this is a good idea?
Yeah.
Yeah, and like I think my mom almost like disowned me. She was like, "You're not going."
Yeah.
Right.
But I think what it was we wanted to go backpacking, but
Okay.
we didn't have as much time to plan. So we were like, okay, well, if we're gonna do it, like we can't go to Europe, like we can't go
Like, we
like
have a
South
window,
America.
yeah.
Yeah, like we
It's
want to
like
do
you have
this
a window
now.
and a budget. You can't go
exactly.
somewhere crazy or do something exotic. so
Exactly.
stay
And-
local.
Yeah, and then we thought about it and was just like, okay, Canada's kind of like the only place that you could potentially get away with hitchhiking without dying.
And I guess
when
you
you
did.
think about, like when
I
you
mean,
think
like,
about it, like it's like
not in northern
I don't know.
BC.
people still do it here though, you know,
Yeah.
like you don't do it in the States, you don't do it in Europe, like you
Right.
just don't do it in those places.
Really? Because I would think that Europe would be the place to do it. I guess I
Yeah.
just don't know the hitchhiking community.
I don't
Like,
know, maybe it's
Yeah.
different because like I'm a girl,
Did you
but
have a
I would
towel
not
with
do it
you?
in Europe. Yeah, we have these like cool, super fast drying towels.
The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy is always have a towel. With
A towel, yeah.
Yeah.
And ours is like ours was like super fast drying towels too,
Yeah.
so it worked out. But
I
yeah,
didn't see that, so I didn't.
You've never seen? You know, I just rented it.
Okay.
And you know
Oh,
where
you
I
should
rented
watch
it?
it.
Classic Video.
I thought you were gonna say Costco.
No.
Classic video.
You ever heard of Classic Video?
Love Classic Video. Classic Video has every movie that ever existed.
What is classic video?
It's,
Okay.
it's a movie rental. store.
Yeah. Have you? So I was in there yesterday, right? And the guy was telling me that they have the largest selection in Canada of video rentals.
I think second.
Maybe second.
Maybe.
He said that he was like somewhere around third in all of North America.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know, so he definitely has a huge library of movies. I rented 3 movies, and they're not like super old or anything, but like almost any movie you would want to
Yeah.
watch.
There's like, and it's like 2 stories, and he's got like skinny DVDs.
Yeah.
Is this in Kingston?
It's in
Yeah,
Kingston,
on Broad
yeah.
Street, right next to the Kingston
Seriously?
Brew
Pub, yeah.
Pub, yeah.
Cool. Okay, I'm going right after this.
Oh,
I didn't
yeah.
know. Like
I rented
There's
3
a
movies
Blockbuster
yesterday.
left. I'm like,
No,
And
I
gave
movie.
up on those kind of
3
places.
movies.
No.
$4 or
What?
$6.
Right, yeah.
Three
And you
movies, $6.
bought them or you
Nope, I
rented
rented
them?
them.
Okay.
So
you
I'm
bring
gonna
it
watch
back.
them,
Yeah.
and then I'm gonna bring them back.
Okay.
Yeah.
Classic Video.
Oh,
is
we
the place
definitely
to go.
have to go there.
Yeah. Shout out to Classic Video. Definitely.
No idea that even existed.
Oh yeah. And that's
All
that.
this Netflix.
that's a
and
hidden
Prime.
gem.
That is a
Hidden
hidden gem.
gem.
Yeah.
Definitely
Aw.
right there. That is really cool, and the dude's really cool. He talks about movies like I rented actually Almost Famous, right? And so and then he was telling me about how there's a local Kingston filmmaker that back in the 60s or 70s there was another guy that kind of like went on a road trip with a bunch of like Jimi Hendrix and a bunch of other like 60s
way.
big name singers, and he made a documentary about it that he also carries at the store.
Whoa,
So that's
I would
probably
watch
another.
that.
Yeah, that's another, and from a local Kingston filmmaker,
Cool.
right?
No way.
Yeah. So I mean, I didn't get all the deets, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
But
yeah.
definitely when I go
That's
back
so
and
cool.
get the when I return to movies, I'll definitely
Yeah, for
I'm
sure.
gonna get
That's
some more.
so
I'm probably gonna
cool.
rent it again or rent that movie so I can check that out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I would definitely rent that movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. What about you, Reed? Does your band have any hidden gems you've ever played at? Like, what's the best place your band has ever played at?
Well, I mean, my favorite place to play is the Blue Martini. just because it's a nice stage. It's a big space. People can dance or people can just sit and have a drink. It's good for everything.
Cool.
I like the mansion. The mansion's a
always fun.
fun spot because the great people work there.
I love going to shows
and
there.
that's sort of like the place to go for live music. Like
Right.
it's sort of like the live music joint.
Yeah.
I mean, so is the Blue Martini, and so is many other places. I feel like Kingston's sort of becoming the sort of Nashville of Canada.
I
Oh,
want.
that's a good way to
That's what I
describe it.
want Kingston to be.
And it's
Yeah.
slowly becoming that because I think every joint that's opening up right now is requiring like a stage to be
Stage.
put on for live
That's so
music,
true.
whether that's
Like, even
acoustic
the
or
pubs, like all the new
Yeah.
breweries opening up,
Yeah.
all have stage, all have live music.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
yeah.
And what's your band called?
Placeholders. I have two
Placeholders?
bands. I have
Two bands.
Placeholders and Funkyard.
Cool. What kind of music?
Funk,
Fun.
funk,
Okay,
soul,
well, Funkyard.
dance, pop, rock.
Okay, so just
everything.
kind of mix of everything.
Mix of everything. Yeah.
I feel like these days, like there's not really genres anymore. Like, it's just music at
yeah.
this point.
Yeah.
To
Absolutely.
an extent.
Yeah.
You got to play a little bit of everything, right? But we just try to we it's dance music, right? Like
Okay,
we
cool.
want to.
Have you
I
ever
like to
heard
dance.
Reed sing?
Of what?
Have you ever heard Reed sing?
No, I haven't.
I will tell you what. Next time that Reed has a show, do you have a show coming up?
I have a show coming up August 30th.
Everybody
August
should go
30th,
August 30th to this show because, damn,
Damn.
damn, no. And then it's like it's a whole ensemble. You know, it's like it's
Yeah.
no.
Well, this one
Cool.
August 30th, it's Funkyard.
Okay.
Which is me and actually a bunch of guys that are like 40, 50, 60 years old.
Oh, that's
that are a lot older than me. They're like veterans of the Kingston music scene.
Right.
And it's so fun to play. And it's complete funk. Like it's old style funk,
love
but
that.
it's
That's
all
so
dance
much
music.
fun.
So yeah.
Cool.
That's you haven't checked that
I
one out
haven't
yet.
checked it out yet. No,
Yeah.
I've only seen the placeholders.
Yeah.
You know, and the place. I'll tell you what. You know, like I don't want to like put any like anyone down. You know, when I say like young
What are you gonna
musicians,
say?
you know what I mean. But it's like a lot of times when you like young musicians, you're like, all right, it's
You're good.
you're good. You're
You're doing
you know?
great, sweetie.
Good for you. You tried. Here's your participation. Man. No, but it's like and then so I was like, all right, I'll go check out their show, and it was just like.
Oh,
It was like my mind was blown. You know, it was just they had like a whole horn section, and it's just no, it was just amazing.
Well, Danny's our number one fan.
I'm number one. I am
Danny's our
so
number one
cute,
supporter.
You guys.
Yeah. No, I loved it. I loved it from the first time that I went to go see him, and it was just great. It was a good show, good time, and definitely know how to put on a good show.
Yeah.
And it's definitely very talented young musicians.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? And it's no, it was definitely a great show, great time.
Yeah, well, we love
a lot
doing
of
it.
talent.
We love
you
doing
know?
it. We put a lot of work into it,
Yeah,
and so
and you can tell.
We try to just create something different for Kingston and the live music scene. So
Yeah.
I love that.
it's fun. Yeah.
Cool. Okay, well, I'm excited now.
Yeah, no, you should definitely go check them out. Yeah,
definitely.
for sure.
So okay, so you both are from very far places and you came to Kingston
Yes.
out of all
Yeah.
places. So I'm curious, why St. Lawrence? Why Kingston? Why are you here right now? Like, so you moved to Toronto, and then what brought you to St. Lawrence?
So, well, I actually moved to Kingston in high school.
Okay.
So I moved here, thanks mom and dad, halfway through grade 9.
Okay.
Yeah.
So just in the beginning of my high school, like halfway through, making all my friends. No, they're like, yeah, we're moving again because my mom got a better job here, right? Like
Okay.
Toronto, her job there was kind of going downhill a little bit, like it just happens there. And then so she started working at Providence Care, which she absolutely loved. So yeah, so I went to high school here, and then I was actually
What high
like
school did you go to?
Frontenac.
Oh, okay.
Falcons. Woo.
Yeah.
But I was actually planning on leaving. I was like, I'm not staying here for school.
Hitchhiking.
Yeah, I'm gonna hitchhike. I'm gonna go. I'm just gonna leave. And but then I was touring around some colleges. So I went to Seneca, George Brown, and different places. And then my parents were like, "Oh, why don't you just look at St. Lawrence?" Because they heard a lot of great things about the program, the business admin program here. So I was like, okay. And then I came here and I just fell in love with it. Like I met the people who were giving me the tours were so nice. I actually went up to the student association and talked to them at the desk, and they were just so nice. And everyone was just like really showboating all the different programs, like not even just mine. They're like, if you don't think you like it, you can switch to this program. And it was just really, really amazing. It felt like a very like close-knit community, which I liked. So I was like, you know what? I'll try it out. am still gung-ho about leaving Kingston. I don't know why. I love Kingston. I was just, for some reason, I was like, I've moved around my whole life. I don't want to, like, stay.
Yeah.
Right.
But I'm really happy. Like, it was the best decision I think I made. I've grown so much, like, more than I think I ever have in my whole life being here for this, like, 2.5 years.
I agree with that. Yeah,
and now you work here.
And now I work here. I work in the Student Association as manager of student engagement. Best job I've ever had. The best coworkers I've ever had.
Is that something you applied for? Did somebody recommend you take the job?
I applied for it, actually. And I did get a recommendation through a friend because I knew my position used to be manager of student affairs.
Yeah.
And
Isn't that what you just said?
No, engagement.
Engagement.
Yeah,
There you
it's
go.
a little bit of a switch. A little bit of a switch. But I knew Craig, who had the position previously,
Okay.
and my friend Val was like, "Oh, Craig's leaving. Like, you should consider applying for his job." And then I touched base with Craig, and he was like, "Yeah, definitely apply." So I did, and then went through the whole interview process, and it was really, really great.
Nice.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's cool.
Danny, what about you, man?
Me? Oh, man. What brought me to Kingston? So I was in the military for a long time, U.S. military, right? Because that's where I'm from. Kinda, I guess.
Kinda.
Yeah. So I was in upstate New York, and I was on then my favorite app, Tinder. And and
I prefer Bumble.
yeah. Well, I guess I never really did get into that one, but yeah, no. And then I met my now wife.
Oh.
Yeah. So and she was a student at Queens, and so like we just kind of met and started talking and started hanging out, and next thing you know, I'm living in Kingston and out of the military, and it's like, what am I gonna do? Oh, we'll go to school.
Well, yeah.
You know.
Right.
So, because I mean, the military pays for it.
And
So
so
like,
do they require you to go to school, or is that your choice whether to go to school or not?
that's my choice,
Right,
kinda
okay.
to a point.
Okay.
So, like in the U.S., when you enlist, they pay for your college, right? Which
Yeah.
was my initial reason for enlisting, so to go to college, and so yeah, so I mean they're paying for it, you know. So I was like, yeah, why not? Yeah, and they pay, you know, and then they pay me too. So it's like, well, why not? Yeah,
Double whammy.
double whammy, right?
Double
Exactly.
whammy. Yeah, that's cool though. That's it's a cute story.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what about you? You're from Kingston, right?
I'm from Kingston, born and raised. So
Born and raised.
I've
Okay.
never left.
Oh.
Not even hitchhiking.
No.
Oh man, you gotta
No.
try it.
No.
Everyone's doing it now.
I don't think people are doing it now
Yeah,
so much.
I'm too afraid to
anymore.
leave the nest, let alone hitchhike. Like, that's the crazy stuff. That's why I'm sitting here breathing. I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, so I've been here my whole life, and then I was working for a theater company before this, and I decided to go back to school. I graduated high school in like 2012.
Okay.
So I came in as a mature student, joined the advertising marketing program, and met Danny, and then met all these fine folks behind the camera here, and here we are today.
Love it.
Yeah.
Love it. So you're both mature students?
Yeah.
Really?
Uh-huh.
You both look so young. Like I would have never guessed.
See, I'm very glad you're saying this because most
I
people
would've
say that I'm
never
like
guessed.
30 or around
Yeah.
Danny's age.
Really?
Here, but
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I say
yeah.
both of you like around like in the range, like 24, 26. Like
I'll
in that
take it.
range.
Okay, I'm
I'll take it.
24.
You're 24.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, you're like kind of a mature student.
Okay, yeah.
You're not that mature, okay?
You're kind of really immature, actually. I take everything I said back.
Oh, that's great. No,
Yeah.
that's awesome.
So let's talk about why I guess we're doing this podcast. Like
Yeah.
why we're
Yeah.
here.
Why are we
what
doing
we're
this podcast?
Where am I? I don't know why. Who brought me here?
Yeah, so we're doing this podcast in a little bit for
Maybe if we go like one, like why are you doing it?
why am I doing the podcast? Okay, let's see. All right. Why am I doing the podcast? Well, I like I think I sound better than I look, and I always wanted
You got a face for radio.
I got a face for radio. So, you know, and I've always wanted to like break into that medium, you know. It's like how Reed and I started, you know, like talking and getting along was we talked about morning shows on the radio,
Cool.
you know. So because I always liked morning shows. I like you know, listening to the radio. I like listening to the radio because of the music and because of the DJs and more importantly the morning shows. You know, of my whole life I've always liked this. So I've always wanted to like kind of get into that somehow, but never really knew how. You know, so Reed and I started talking a little bit. It's like, it's like we should do a podcast. Because you don't need to be on the radio.
Yeah.
To do a podcast.
Right.
It's like you can just do a podcast.
You just do it.
You just do it, right?
Yeah.
So
like every millennial is doing.
Like
today.
exactly,
Exactly.
right? Yeah, and that's
Everyone's doing
another
it.
thing, right? So it's like we all listen to podcasts. We all, at some way, at some level, engage with the podcast, right?
For sure.
So yeah, that was kind of like why I kind of wanted to do it. It's I have all these ideas in my head, so I was like, well, let's see if we can translate these into into a microphone.
Awesome.
So yeah, that's
Cool.
Yeah.
exactly.
Awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, and that was like we had a bunch of conversations. And
Oh, yeah.
we sat down. And we kind of talked about like, okay, if we're gonna do a podcast, what's it gonna be? And we kind of had just all
Right.
these ideas, and we wanted it to be. I think it was always a like sort of community focused.
Yes,
Like that was sort of
Cool.
the thing. Like we wanted to talk about local. And then I kind of just said like, why don't we do it about St. Lawrence?
yes.
And then
Cool.
we came into the school
Yeah.
a while ago, and then
And we like knocked on everyone's doors.
everyone's door, and
Yeah.
there's like
Everyone.
no one here because it's summer.
It's like herding
Yeah.
cats.
No.
Yeah.
Everyone goes on vacation.
Yes.
Yeah,
Sorry,
so
guys.
it was like we clearly were first a little bit like this was the wrong time. to
Yeah.
do
Right.
this.
Yeah.
And so we knocked on everyone's door. We met Dwight,
Yep.
who's from Academic
Dwight's great,
Services.
yeah.
Dwight's the man, and Dwight took us around everywhere in the school.
Okay.
Everyone
And
that was still here.
Everyone is still here.
Right.
We talked to Jeremy, and then we got to the essay, and then we talked to Terry.
Yeah.
And
Super
we were like,
producer Terry over there.
Ooh, Terry.
we said we want to start a podcast. We want to make it about the students and what's going on in the school. And we started doing this whole spiel. And Terry's got this smile on her face.
It's like,
and I was
Terry, like, what's
Yeah.
going on
What's up?
here,
and then she's like, "We are literally doing that right now."
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then
Leighton also
Super producer. Shout out to
He
Leighton.
had a awesome idea when he first started and was like, let's do a podcast. And we were just like, yeah, let's do it. Like, let's do this podcast. And then we were literally planning it, and you two came, and it was great. It was so.
It was
like,
meant to be. It was
yay.
the stars were
stars were
aligned.
aligned, yeah.
you
It
know?
was, yeah, it was perfect. I think part of why I'm specifically like doing it and wanting to be like a host actually on it is just because I've always been really, really passionate about being an advocate for the students. I think that's part of what brought me to my position and why I really, really wanted to work for the SA, which is because I've always felt like that person where if somebody doesn't want to say something or they have said something, but maybe not to the right person, I want to go out and be that person. So
Right.
just kind of like continuing to share my voice and share kind of like my experiences and other people's experiences. And that's kind of why I'm specifically doing it.
Yeah.
But yeah.
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 And that's sort of the big thing what we're doing right now, and we want to make sure that everyone listening to the podcast, watching the podcast, doing whatever,
Yeah.
that they're involved in this, and
For
that we
sure.
want to make sure that you are connected to the school, and that
This is
we're
our
also
voice, the students.
Every
Exactly.
right?
student's voice.
But we
It's
also-
every student's
Yeah.
voice.
we want to connect with you too. So
Exactly.
if there's something that you guys want to plug, whether it's an event that you have that you're organizing yourself, a student-run thing that you want to do, something that you want to know
clubs,
more
that
about the
kind of thing.
college, let us know,
Yeah.
and we want to make sure
Like
that that's
and comment.
Yeah,
you know,
and
it's
you
our all our handles are out. You know, it's like
Yeah.
I'm at no middle name 13 on Instagram. You know, so just like and comment over there.
Yeah.
What's your
Sneaky
plug?
Pig.
Sneaky
Sneaky Pig
Pig one.
I'm Elizadora. I don't have as cool of a name, sorry. But yeah, and then I mean, if anyone wants to be on the podcast too, like why not, right? We can have other students. If you want to try and be a host, come on down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
we welcome all.
And then we do have an at SA Voice Podcast Instagram page as well.
Yeah, and you guys can like and follow that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so like and comment and let us know what you like, what you don't like, what you want to hear, what you don't want to hear. You know, we are here for the students.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you know, exactly.
Yeah, it's for you. It's all for you. Awesome. Yeah, thank you guys.
Well, thank you for listening to this episode.
Yeah. We'll catch you next time.
Cool.